There's a couple of things about video interviews.
Yeah.
First thing is your preparation sound. And what I mean by preparation is like you talked about buying one of our past interview packs, which is awesome, preparing the scripts,
Yeah.
place where a lot of people tend to miss out. And I just had somebody for HSBC derivatives earlier this afternoon, right? And he was like, oh, is my script okay? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, how much are you speaking your answers out loud? He was like, oh, like not a lot. Like he hates talking out loud. It makes him feel really self-conscious. You know, he's like a maths guy, super bright guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you need to lean into the place which makes you feel most uncomfortable. So, for example, when you talked about these different video interviews, how much are you speaking out loud? Are you practicing your answers?
I didn't practice for my video interview actually when I did it for EDF. I wrote my scripts, but I didn't practice. Then I followed some of your preparation packs and I found that, okay, let me just break this. And I started recording myself and I started repeating my answers. And I did the same for Experian as well. So I did quite a lot of practice as well, maybe for 3 or 4 hours. And then I gave interview. So I don't know where I went wrong, but I did some practice. But one feedback which I can get now is I don't know if I speak that loud in my interview, and I don't know if I was that clear. So that's one thing which I'm not sure about. There is one more video interview which I've given at the moment. So that's for this FIS Global, but I'm pretty much sure that I spoke very clearly and I spoke out very loud. I was at the right pace as well. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that your preparation is good. Okay, so our research is good, our scripts are good, our preparation is good, we're getting good repetition, putting the reps, that's what's really important. Then we kind of start to think about general feedback. Okay, so I'm giving answers, are these any good? Like the answers that I'm recording. There's a couple of things. So if someone hasn't done a lot of video interviews, they might just not be very good at them. They need 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. It's like learning to ride a bike for the first time or learning to do any skill which is challenging and also which is changing and pressurized. So it's not like we have to learn a bike and if we fail then there'll be horrible consequences. We're just learning a particular skill. But with an interview there is kind of an implied downside for if we don't remember them, if we are unable to do it. So that's the other thing to bear in mind as well. Other things to think about: how long you're speaking for, how quickly you're talking. Are you able to be understood? And I notice this with a lot of non-native English speakers. What they'll do is they will speak quickly to either mask what they believe is a bad accent, which is not true, which is not the case.
Yeah.
Or they will speak quickly to kind of cover mistakes, or they just feel nervous, right? The purpose of communication is to be understood. If I can't understand you, then it just doesn't matter. If I'm speaking a language that you don't understand, it doesn't matter how much I say or how quickly, I speak. You just can't understand what I'm saying, right? So I think one thing that I try and do is if that's the point where you find yourself and you're like, I don't understand why I'm failing, then find somebody who you trust to share those videos with, to get some external feedback. Someone say like, is this good? Is this bad? How do you think that I come across? And it may be the case if you come across well, then it's just about the repetitions and trying again and refining your methodology.
Yeah, understood. So this is something which I must do, and I would plan to do this very soon because I need some feedback. So as you said, if I do record myself and share it with someone who can give me some valuable feedback in terms of my answer. So particularly, I need to know if I'm speaking right. So if I'm giving in enough content to the answer, so I need to answer to that question. So I need to verify that. So I might think my script is all right and I've spoken enough, but I don't know what others think about because it's the third person who's gonna review me and give me some feedback for my answers. I would do the same. So this is actually a very good idea, and thanks for that.
No worries. Who else has a question? Don't be shy. Come and say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Rachel.
I really don't have a question. I wanted to find out why recruiters in the NHS in UK to get a job is difficult. So I don't know. Probably I'm not doing my application in the right way, or something is wrong with my CV, because my CV ought to speak more for me, right? Or is the note I'm dropping cover note that is not solid? I don't know. But I'm not getting a good feedback or response.
where are you applying from?
From Lagos.
So first of all, that's kind of the first thing, right? So you need to be going through an agency which is based in Nigeria. So I get probably like 25 to 30 emails a week from people who want to go and work in healthcare. So they'll be like predominantly they will be from Africa, they'll be from other countries. I'll be honest with you, I just don't reply. Because the thing is, it's like if I wanted to get a job in Lagos, right, in Nigeria, then the first question, like I pick up the phone, I send an application. So first of all, it would be just a question of geography, right? So someone would be like, well, you're not close, so I'm not going to give you a job because you're not available. So that's the first thing. So say, for example, you improve that by like 1 point, which is you put down a UK address, which is real or is realistic that you could come to the UK. Then the second thing that you would do is try to think, well, my CV, my cover letter, is it specific to the job that I'm applying for? So generally what people will do is that they'll because people don't like writing in general. So they'll write a CV, they'll write a cover letter, and they're like, oh my God, that took me like all day. I am never doing that again. All right. But each job description is slightly different and needs to be tweaked. Because it all has to go through something which is called an application tracking system. It's a type of software. It's just basically it's like matching software. So in a job application, they'll look for particular skills, and an algorithm will kind of look at that and go, well, does Rachel's CV match up for those skills? Does Rachel's cover letter match up for those skills? Funnily enough, if they do, and you can use their software, if you search in like ATS software or ATS scanner, and then started using that with your CV or cover letter, I can almost guarantee you will get more responses, right? But then you need to think about geography. So that's a basic difficulty that all people who are not in the UK who want to come to the UK will face. And that would be the same if I wanted to work in the US, or somebody in the US wanted to work in France. It's just a question of geography. So personally, for me, it's better to go through an agency, because then you're removing the barriers to entry. That's like the low-level starting place to then progress and then see results. All of our services are geared around for people who are based within the UK. To put it into perspective, Rachel, we are a small company of a couple of people, and we get responses from people all around the world, but we're quite categorical. I mean, we provide information, but that's it. We're not, the UK Home Office or some enormous organisation. There's literally like 3 of us. So I don't have a response for that, unfortunately. There's only so many people that we are able to help, and it's generally for people who are based within the UK. We have people who subscribe to us from all around the world, but we can only help people who are based in the UK.
Hi, Mike. I'm a master's graduate, so I graduated from my master's in 2021, and I've been on my graduate visa since then, just trying to find a proper job that sponsors. And yeah, unfortunately, I found one, and I've kind of done a lot of the stuff you recommend. I don't know if maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I've done a lot of stuff with my CV, a lot of stuff, working on cover letters and stuff, trying to apply to organizations that I know are likely to sponsor. But just maybe for some of the bigger companies, sometimes it's like for EY, for instance, maybe I don't get past the assessment center or the assessment stage, even though I work, I practice a lot and stuff. Just can't seem to get through. Maybe I don't know if it's the numerical. I doubt it's the numerical, but because I practiced that a lot, I don't know if maybe it's like the situational judgment test or something. But I always try hard to actually tailor it to the company and give my responses based on their values and stuff like that. But it never quite works out, even for the banks and all the big kind of the usual suspects. And then for Aon, I was able to pass the video interview, but they haven't gotten back to me about an assessment center, even though it's been almost 4 months now. It was in February. So
have you followed them up?
Yeah, I follow them up. I follow them up recently. I might send another one, but yeah, because Yeah, so that's because they say not everyone who passes gets to the next stage, but at the same time, they haven't like sent me a rejection email as well. So it still says in progress. So like that's kind of why I'm a bit confused with that. But I've tried to like apply to other places as well. Maybe like even like finance jobs in the NHS because I'm mostly kind of looking at finance jobs at the moment. So maybe like a finance job in NHS or like just sort of companies that can sponsor. So I don't know if maybe you've got any idea as to where I'm going wrong. Is it probably still the CV stuff, or is it like what do you think could be?
Obviously, it's something that I can't comment on without having seen. It sounds like you probably need a second opinion.
Yeah.
So if you're, Akash asked a question about video interviews, right? And he was, I'm doing what you said. It's got better, like it's improved, but now I find myself stuck. I'm like, okay, cool. So you're doing what you're meant to be doing. He's like, yeah, but now I don't know, maybe the way that I've done it is not correct. So it's like, okay, time for a second opinion. So somebody that you trust, somebody that you can, for example, with the online tests, are you using a paid provider to practice with?
Yeah, I would say yeah. For a long time, I was using a paid provider. It's been a sort of I've kind of exhausted like all the kind of jobs that usually require numerical, but I used to use a paid provider. Yes.
Right. Okay. And you were getting good scores?
Yeah, I was getting good scores. Yeah, I always used to like practice a lot. I kind of got to the point where I knew okay, the numerical and even the verbal to most of the time wasn't the issue. Maybe it might be, I don't know if it's a situational test, because I know with different companies, they sort of have the answers they're looking for when they ask you like, what is, sort of when they put you in like situational stuff.
So for the online test, most people struggle with SJTs. When you come, this is not like a one size fits all. This is just my observation, right? Yeah. Over the past 10 years. And what happens is so a lot of big companies will use some form of job simulation. Yeah. The job simulations will involve SJT questions. Most people will be like good at numerical and logical or good at SJT and logical, and they'll be weak in one particular area. So I think SJT is probably something to look at because it features quite heavily, and it's what a lot of people struggle with. I mean, with your applications, like with your CV, with your cover letters, I always say it to people. I mean, look, you can get somebody who you trust to have a look at it for you. You could go onto Fiverr to get somebody to have a look over something for you for like a relatively small amount of money. But for something that's such a crucial document, I always say to people, like, if you're not sure if it's working, then just get a second opinion. Yeah. Like, I've done exactly the same thing. I'll be like, oh my God, why isn't this working? I've tried everything. Then I think, well, then I need to change my approach. Yeah. Like, if I've tried everything and it's not working, but yet other people appear to have some sort of success, I don't believe that the situation in front of me is impossible, then I'm lacking some sort of information or application of that information to be successful. So I think perhaps if you've reached the stage of like, oh my God, I've tried everything, then it might be a good opportunity to reach out and to seek feedback from somebody, and also to look at the areas of online tests that maybe have a look at SJT and logical, because maybe that's like all I can do is a hot read, right, on Q&As. I can't really do much more than that, but that's kind of like a snap judgment that I would make. I'd be like, but what about this? Because generally when people are like, yeah, but I didn't kind of do that, and I'm like, yeah, you need to do it all. Yeah. Or that's, where you'll fall down.
I know you have the list of companies and stuff that you recommend, but I guess I found that a lot of the ones that I can apply for on the list, I've mostly applied for them. The roles that you see, like people you work with get, is it mostly like the ones that have testing and all of that in place?
We've always targeted big companies.
Yeah.
There's just more roles, more money, more certificates of sponsorship. Just put a link in the chat. Don't know, you might, for people who are looking for like companies that can sponsor, that's a free website that we made. You can also search companies by industry. I thought that this was super cool. So obviously the government list is really bad, but you can also search by industry. You can search for, what was there? Healthcare. Did we talk about healthcare? Care home. There's like 1,813. In Birmingham, there are 28. and then you can download your search and just get it emailed to you for free. So that's quite useful, and it's free. So this is completely random. I might do it again at some point. I have no doubt that with enough timing and with a little bit of timing and planning would fill the room. But I enjoy it. I enjoy the randomness. I enjoy meeting random people. I just like helping people. I feel like that's what God wants me to do on any given day. Thank you guys. Take care. See you later. Bye.